Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and I haven't posted in a while of one of these, but I hope that this can get some views, because I've noticed lately, probably because I haven't been posting as often, my videos haven't been getting many views, and I'm gunning for 120 subscribers, because when we get there, I've got a very special surprise for all of you. So please ask all your friends to subscribe, because I've got a really special surprise, so we're just waiting to hit that 120 and then I'll put it out. So make sure to tell your friends to subscribe, because you'll love it. Yeah, so we're going to read The Puppy Plays Buddy, Chapter 8. We're going to finish this book and then we're going to start on Weirdo. I've had so many votes for Weirdo, and I have the whole set, 1 to 21, so we'll do Weirdo. Let's go. Buddy still looks kind of weak, Charles said the next morning at breakfast. Maybe Lizzie and I should stay home from school and help take care of him. He looked over at the little tan puppy in his mother's lap. Buddy looked back at him with his soft brown eyes. Charles could almost feel Buddy begging for Charles and Lizzie to stay home. Cinnamon and Coco were fine on their own, but Buddy needed them. Charles waited for Lizzie to say something, but she was just staring into her cereal bowl deep in thought. Sammy, who was finishing off his second piece of toast, instantly agreed. I'll help too, he said. Sammy also loved Buddy. Plus, he was also happy to skip school for a day. Thanks for the offer, said Mrs. Peterson, but the Bean and I can take care of Buddy just fine. I've fed him twice in the middle of the night. He's already looking much better. She looked down at the tan puppy. Aren't you Mr. Buddy? She asked in a baby talk voice. Buddy reached up a paw when he heard his name, and Mum bent down to kiss him on the head. Buddy loved this lady. She loved him too, he could tell. He felt at home in her lap. It was almost as good as being curled up with his mother. He snuffled into her cheek when she kissed him. Mum giggled. She actually giggled. Charles looked over at Lizzie and raised his eyebrows, but Lizzie didn't seem to notice. Charles had never seen their mother act quite like that around a puppy. But Buddy could melt anyone's heart. There was just something special about him. Buddy! Yelled the Bean. He reached up to touch the puppy. Hey, cool! The Bean knows Buddy's name already. That was the first time the Bean had called any puppy by its real name. Usually he just said, Uppy! Easy, Mum cautioned the Bean. That's good, she said when the Bean gave Buddy a soft pat on the nose. That's the way to pat a puppy. Pat me! The Bean demanded. He toddled over to Charles and bumped his head up against Charles's knee. Charles patted his head gently. Good Bean, he said. That's a good Bean. But the Bean laughed and went around the table getting pats, pretending to be a dog was his favourite game. After breakfast, Charles, Lizzie and Sammy gave the Bean and the puppies a few last pats and headed off to school. What's up with you? Charles asked his sister. You're out of it. Just thinking, Lizzie said. I'm working on an idea. Then she started talking so fast that Charles could barely keep up. See, I'm thinking about all the dogs at Caring Paws and how they all need homes and how our puppies are going to need homes too. We need to get the word out. Lizzie swung her book bag as she talked, getting more and more excited. And I was also thinking about that new bookstore. It's called Lucky Dog Books, and the owner is really, really nice. His name is Jerry Small, and he loves dogs. If he gets enough business, he might even adopt one of the puppies, but he needs people to know his story's there. Charles and Sammy looked at each other. What was Lizzie getting at? So what I'm thinking is this, Lizzie continued. What if there was a grand opening party at the bookstore and we invited all the dogs from the shelter? People would come to the bookstore for the party, but they would also get to meet the dogs, and Skipper's puppies too. Maybe some of them would get adopted. That would be lucky dogs, right? Charles and Sammy were nodding. It's a great idea, said Charles. It'll be a lot of work, Lizzie warned. First I have to talk to Miss Dobbins and Mr. Small, said Lizzie. Maybe Maria and I can make cookies and punch. She swung her book bag some more. But how can we make sure that lots and lots of people come to the store? All the way to school, Lizzie kept talking and Charles and Sammy just kept nodding. Lizzie was like that. Once she got an idea, she couldn't think or talk about anything else. But once they got to school, Charles forgot all about Lizzie's idea. During morning meeting, Mr. Mason reminded Class 2B that it was Meet the Author Day. Mary Thompson would be in the library reading to each class in turn. I'd like you to think of some questions to ask her, Mr. Mason told the class. It's not every day that we get to talk to a real live author. He'd put some of Mary Thompson's books out on display. Charles could hardly wait until it was his turn to share news. "Guess what came to stay with us this weekend?" he asked when Mr. Mason called out. He pointed to the copies of So Many Puppies Mr. Mason had put out. Puppies! And they looked just like those. He fumbled in his backpack and pulled out the signs that Lizzie and Maria had made. "See?" he said, passing it around. Everyone said, "Aww," when they saw the puppies. Charles told about how the puppies had ended up at their house and what their names and personalities were. "Are they going to live with you forever?" Mr. Mason asked. Charles shook his head. "No," she said sadly. "I wish we could keep one, but we're just fostering them. They need good homes." All morning, Charles kept glancing at the cover of So Many Puppies. He couldn't wait to hear Mary Thompson read it out loud. Finally, after lunch, it was his class's turn to go down to the library. Mum was right. Mary Thompson didn't act like a famous person. She was short and round and cosy looking, with grey hair and a bright red scarf around her neck. She sat on the floor and invited everyone to sit in a circle with her. Then she read 2 of her books out loud, showing the pictures and stopping to ask questions like, "Does anyone here have a younger brother or sister? And what kind of animal do you think Susie saw?" Charles was sort of disappointed that she didn't read So Many Puppies, but he liked the books she did read. Then it was question time. "Where do you get your ideas?" said Simon. "How many books have you written?" asked Lucy. "Do you draw the pictures in your books?" asked Robert. "Do you like dinosaurs?" said Sammy. Mary Thompson asked all the questions. And then Mrs. Devine, the librarian, said there was only time for one more. Charles raised his hand and Mary Thompson called on him. "Which book of yours is your favourite?" asked Charles. "My favourite is So Many Puppies." He was dying to tell Mary Thompson about Coco, Cinnamon and Buddy, but he knew there wasn't time. "Oh, I love that one too," said Mary Thompson. "I adore puppies, even though I haven't had one for many, many years. But I wrote that book a long time ago. Usually whatever book I'm working on right now is my favourite." The bell rang just then, and Mr. Mason told the class to thank Mary Thompson. Then it was time to go. Charles waited until everyone else had left. Then he went up to Mary Thompson. Just like Lizzie, he had an idea. He was almost too shy to ask, but the author seemed so nice. What did he have to lose? He stood there for a minute, not sure what to say. Mary Thompson smiled at him and raised her eyebrows like she was waiting for Charles to speak. Charles smiled shyly back at her. "Would you like to come to a party?" Charles asked. Chapter 8. All wrapped up. Got 2 more chapters to go, 9 and 10. Then I'll move on to Weirdo, and hopefully you guys enjoy this more than this. See ya.